Hi friends, and welcome to a video that I'm creating. I'm making bread, and I'm really excited to make this bread because it seems like it's going to be a bit of an experiment because I'm using pizza crust yeast. And so I'm curious to see if the pizza crust yeast is any different than regular yeast. Stay tuned. All right, so here we have our 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 1 teaspoon of dry yeast measured out, and then we have 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. This is a recipe that Mr. Jason sent to Miss Stacy and I thought, why not give it a try? And what this is called is a no-knead bread. So you don't have to knead and massage the dough. You just get to leave it and let it rise by itself. So I'm going to combine all the ingredients now as the directions say. So I have my yeast, and I have my salt that I'm going to add, and then next comes the water. All right, and now we have our water. The recipe calls for 1 5/8 cups of water, which is an interesting measurement for bread, but that's all right. We're gonna figure it out. I do have a measuring cup. It is a liquid measuring cup. We're about to get a little math heavy here, but that's okay because we want this bread to turn out well. I added my 1 cup to the flour mixture that I have here. However, it calls for 1 cup plus 5/8 of a cup. So I looked it up on Google. Yes, I asked Google for the answer, and it is 5/8 of a cup is the same as 10 tablespoons. So these tablespoon measures here are what I'm going to use. Unfortunately, I don't have a 1 tablespoon on this measuring spoon ring here. I do, however, have a 1/2 tablespoon. So I'm gonna be using 20 1/2 tablespoons of water. But just know, if you have a tablespoon, you're gonna use 10 of them. But because I only have 1/2 tablespoon, I need to double that to make 20. Now you are just going to give it a good stir. You want to incorporate all the ingredients together so that your dough, it's described it as shaggy and like sticky. So just kind of like, you're gonna feel like you want to add more flour, but don't. Okay, so you're gonna incorporate all these ingredients, which means mix them all together, which make sure you get all of the ingredients on the side of the bowl, and give it a good mix. Oh, and the bottom of the bowl always has some dry ingredients there too, so don't forget those. And then once you're all done mixing all the ingredients together, the recipe calls, because it's a no-knead recipe, which means we're not gonna touch it after this, the recipe calls that you let it sit with plastic wrap over it and let it rise in room temperature, which is outside of your fridge, for at least 12 hours. That's a long time, so be prepared to be patient and wait for your bread to do its thing. It all comes down to science after this, and the yeast is going to make this dough rise. So I'm excited to show you the next step. Hopefully the dough is at least doubled in size, but here is what I've got, and we'll see you hopefully when it's twice as big. See you. Okay, so now we're at the point of our bread where it's been probably around, probably more than 18 hours, to be honest. Got a lot of that. Oh, it's apparently been 25 hours according to Miss Kristen. So I'm really hoping that this still works out for me and that it's still good. But now we have to take the dough out, put it onto a floured surface, and fold it over 2 or 3 times, and then wait for the next set of instructions. Okay, so I folded it over, and now, like once or twice I folded it over, and now we're gonna put some plastic wrap. And now the instructions say to just let it sit for 15 minutes, and we'll be back. All right, and now the next step is to generously flour 2 cotton towels. I've got 2 towels right here. And then what you're going to do is make this dough into a ball. And what it says is you're going to make it into a ball, and then you're going to put it seam side down onto a towel, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So what I did is I generously floured the towel, and then I made a ball. And what happens is, what they talk about the seam is there's kind of a line underneath this flour ball. See, there's the seam unfolding. We don't want that. But what I did was I'm trying to do this with one hand, which is kind of difficult, but I kind of pinched the bottom, okay, and then rolled it. And so there is now a nice seam under there, and that's what the instructions called for. And then we are going to put this towel over the top of it once it's generously floured. And I want to remind friends to please make sure you're using a clean towel. You don't want your bread to be kind of gross and dirty, so please use clean towels to do this. Also make sure they're 100% cotton towels, otherwise they will stick. Okay, and then I put the other towel right over the top, and then it says to rest it for another 2 hours. So this bread does take quite a bit of time to make, but it is pretty simple, and it's really just a lot of resting time, so you can do so many other things while you're waiting for this bread to rise and do its scientific thing. So we will be back at 4 o'clock, and so that is 2 hours from now, and we will go ahead and bake it.